All right, so guys, this is a question from the homework from 5.5, and it says solve the equation, write the numbers using integers or simplified fractions. Okay, so the student, their question was, how do I do part B? But let's go ahead and go through the whole problem just to make sure that we're good here. So remember, the first thing I want to do here, y'all, is divide everything by 4. That's going to give me the cosine of 2x equals, we can reduce this to the square root of 3 over 2. And so think about it this way, y'all. What we're trying to figure out is when is the cosine of theta equal to the square root of 3 over 2, right? So I'm going to pull up another picture that I have right here, okay? And I want to know when is the cosine equal to the square root of 3 over 2. If you notice at the very top at 30 degrees, and then if you notice down here at the bottom, also at 330 degrees, right? I'm sorry, 330 degrees, because here's my cosine. This one here at 330, and let me see if I can bring this down a little bit, and then this one right here at 30 degrees. So I know that theta is going to be equal to 30 degrees and 330 degrees. But our theta in this case, y'all, is that 2x, okay? I know I'm dealing with degrees right now. We'll go back and change our answers to radians in a minute. But I am going to go back and forth between radians and degrees because I think it is easier to understand. So now, look, let me divide both sides by 2. So my x equals 15 degrees, and my x here equals 115 degrees, right? Now, since we are dealing with the cosine of 2x, remember what we want to find. We want to find the period. So the period of this function is going to be 2 pi divided by 2. So the period of this function is pi. So these values are going to be reoccurring at every multiples of pi that we add, right? So look, let me come back over here. We had x equals 15 degrees, x equals 115 degrees, right? So let's go ahead and convert these to radians. So I'm going to say 15 degrees over 1 times pi over 180. These here will reduce to 12. So my first answer is pi over 12, and then 115 over 180, oops, sorry, not over 180, but over 1 times pi over 180, and let me see what I can reduce these by. Actually, you know what, I'll do it on my calculator real quick. So let me clear this out. So I got 115 or more, divided by 180. This is just that calculator app, y'all. 23 over 36, nice and pretty. I like the app. So 23 pi over 36, okay? So remember, because we said that the period of my function was pi, then for part A, my answers are going to be plus n times pi. Plus n times pi, okay? So here are my answers for part A. These are what we call the general solutions. Now, there is a part B to the question. Part B says, can we find the intervals, or all the answers, on the interval between 0 to 2 pi? So notice, this here is given to me in radians. I want us to think about that for a second, though, y'all, in degrees, okay? And again, the reason I'm going to go with degrees, it's just easier for me to do the computations, okay? So remember what we came up with for our answers? We came up with 15 degrees and 115 degrees. And then we said that our general answers were something like pi over 12 plus n pi and 23 pi over 36 plus n pi. Those were my general answers. Excuse me, I was getting a little bit of water. Okay, so look, I want to think about the general answer. My n is still n. If I were to convert pi back to degrees, that would be 180 for both of them, okay? So what I want you to think about is, remember what n is equal to here, y'all. N is equal to 1, 2, 3, so on and so forth for both of them. 2, 3, so on and so forth. So let's do this. Let's see what happens when n equals 1, okay? When n equals 1, I'm going to have 15 degrees plus 180 times 1, still 180. That's going to be 195 degrees. Well, this answer is in this interval. That's going to be one of my other answers, okay? And then let me do the same thing over here. 115 degrees. Remember, I'm still doing n equals 1 plus 180. This is now going to be equal to, oh, I don't know, what is it, like 295? 115 plus 180. Yes, 295. This is still on that interval from 0 to 360. Now, if I were to do the same thing, so I'm going to write my answer again over here. X equals 15 plus 180n, and x equals 15 plus 180n. But now we would decide, let's let n be equal to 2. Look what we would have for the first one. 15 plus 180 times 2 is 360. That would be 375 degrees, but I'm no longer on the interval, I'm no longer on the interval from 0 to 360, am I? Because this number is not in here. This number is bigger than that interval. Same thing would happen, y'all, if we did, why is my pen not working? There we go. There we go. We'd end up with something like 475 degrees. And again, we're not on that interval. So the answers that are on the interval are these two here. But again, because the original problem said, let's do it over the interval from 0 to 2 pi, we're going to go like this. Look, on the interval from 0 to 2 pi, remember the first answers we had were pi over 15 and 23 pi over 36. And now we have two more answers. Those two answers are 195 and 295. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, look, let me figure out what those are going to be. Okay, so again, I'm going to do this on my calculator. We get here 195 over 180. That should be 12 times 1, 12, plus one more, 13 pi over 12. So this here is going to be 13 pi over 12. So here's another answer. Okay, and then we had another answer which was, what, 295 degrees? So let me come back here, 295 over 1 times pi over 180. And let me convert that. So we'll go 295 over, 95 over 180. And let's see, what's 36 times 1 is 36 plus 23, 59. It's 15 pi over 36, and that's going to be my other answer, okay? So because it was asking for all the answers from 0 to 2 pi, since the period was pi, and these were the general answers we had, and we're going to do it over 2 pi, we should be coming up with 2 more answers, okay? So I hope that makes sense. If it doesn't, let me know. We'll figure out another way to go over it, okay? But I hope this is making sense for y'all, okay? Let me know if you got questions.